Xtracrizby. He's a Plat-Diamond. I don't know if that rank exists, but we're gonna call him a 2500 level player. Why? Because he said Plat-Diamond, and I like giving people the lowest amount of respect possible. So he's a 2500 level player. He's gonna be at Havana. Plays Junkrat. Moira, good thing I was, one-tricking Moira the other night, because we give him some in-depth DPS Moira advice on that one. And he's already cut it to where the action starts.
4, 3, 2, 1. Attackers incoming. Stop the payload.
The greatest enemy is
For your
that
safety,
which lies
behind the barrier.
Alright, so on any of these shots, in general, when dealing with the payload, actually, whenever you're dealing with that, the payload is just, like, it's like a truck, right? Vroom. Beep beep. And basically, whenever you're dealing with high ground to, I don't want to say low ground, but whenever there's this type of deal, this higher to lower elevation, I don't know what to call it. We commonly see this with the staircase. Essentially, what you want to do is you want to be aiming for right here. Or right here. Essentially, give them the lowest amount of visibility possible. It's very good on staircases, because if you're over here and you shot like this, you essentially just give them the lowest amount of time to react. Same thing here. In fact, you'd probably aim for this by going as close as you can to this. So you probably want this type of arc.
My genius.
But when you saw that truck coming, I don't know if it looked like you're shooting a little bit random, but if you're going to shoot anywhere, shoot right there or right there. Because a lot of people will use this as cover, and they will think they're safe, and you can kind of clip the top of their model as well.
Oh, this'll
Oh shit, he's there. Yeah. You should... Yes. Usually, in some of these cases, I have this, like, my adult mentality steps in, and I'm like, alright, I caused this problem, I should solve it. Alright, so question for you there is that, what was that trap for? Because the only thing that would really use that would be the Genji. Maybe, I don't even think Widow, because she'd have to walk down the stairs for it at that point. Alright. Hog's coming up behind you, you have to commit to this. So, you gotta be a little bit more decisive when you do these types of flanks. Also, click a goddamn button. Jesus Christ. At least watch someone. Oh, it probably does that because it's in review mode. Gotcha. Okay. Noted. This guy plays super passive? Yep. He's very passive, which I can understand because he's not... He doesn't... Okay, I like this trap 11. So, Widow has hacks. Just be careful. I heard a heal. Okay, yep. Good. You went up there? I like that. Now, you know both their supports are to the left, so you should probably have some pressure on them from above. They're below you. Behind you? Yes, they're over there. Nothing else, just pressure them, hit them once, let your team deal with it. Now you have the question, okay, better trap. Oh, worse trap. I would ult here, yeah, perfect. And they have snipers. So I was with you on the sentiments of, hey, I need to create some space. Trap is what you need to put on, because someone's gonna... Okay. Rotate around the pressure. That's sketchy. So overall, yes, very passive play, but you didn't have your shield up top. If you do not have your shield like that, you can still kind of put pressure. You just have to be very careful about it. Essentially, and Havana's a little bit... When you have the high ground advantage, there is some things you can do as a Junkrat. So you have the high ground advantage. You can actually sit back here and shoot like this. And in Havana, you do have a wall on the right side. Like if you're on the top, you do have the wall on the right side that you can ricochet off of to get some damage back. Essentially, you just want to cause a little bit of havoc. If resources come up to you, you're at least in somewhat of an enclosed space. I'm not going to say it's going to be a great advantage to you. But if you hold your concussive mines and you essentially use this to provoke a response to you, that's one way of aiding your team. Gene says he doesn't mind jump nearly often enough. He's a stationary Junkrat. But that's not wrong. You don't have to be mind jumping everywhere like a madman. That's just, like, personally, that's my style of play. But again, that doesn't make it right. So, if you're going to try to concussive mine a Genji when he's deflecting, don't forget about above and below. If you can stick something to the ceiling or to the wall without him deflecting it, you can get some detonation off of there. Alright, Sonic Arrow. Good.
You're powered up. Get in there. Get back.
You probably want to tire this? Yeah, just get a kill.
Team up for special attack.
So, when you use tire in combat, usually detonate it as fast as you can. Or, like, as close to a target as you can. Essentially, the longer you fuck around with tire, the more likely are you to die. Secondly, just because they put down Immortality Field does not mean don't detonate it on Immortality Field. You'll take out the Immortality Field, and everyone in there will pretty much go down to 20% of their health. If your team has any sort of follow-up, they will die. It's funny, Immortality Field is actually like this double-sided sword for Junkrat's ultimate. Yes, they will survive it, but they're all so goddamn close that they'll all be down at 20% health. So overall, there's just an accuracy issue. I will say that. Okay, good job. As you get more and more comfortable with that, you'll just do both at the same time. Essentially, you just gotta... It's half you need to have comfort or the confidence.
You're powered up. Get in there.
Okay. Have a little bit more confidence in yourself when you're nano boosted. You have to take some big risks with that. I wouldn't say big risks, but I mean you can't get one-shotted anymore, so you're okay there. Well, I guess you could with the... Well, how does the damage... I'd have to check how damage calculation is done. But yeah, you'll survive. not council. This one is not on council. What I was going to say about the Concussive Mind plus primary combo is you kind of waited with that on the Mei. At a certain point, you do just have to have faith in yourself that one of them, like, it's going to hit. Detonate. Oh. Just kill the Genji. Trap. Perfect. When someone destroy, if you have someone pressuring a trap directly, when they destroy it, it's always a good idea to throw it right where it was at. The last place someone's going to look for a trap is where they just destroyed it. Not a bad idea. I had no idea that that existed. I had no idea that tunnel existed. That was a good one. What rank is this? I'm not sure what rank this is. He may have tried to hit it from me, because it may not be a ranked game. It could be a quick play, but whatever. As long as people are playing seriously, which it seems like they are. Drop a trap. You try. Overall, yes, I would say there's a lot of passivity with your play. I would also say that you're just not putting shots on the right places. It seems like your accuracy is off. In fact, when you're doing normal shots, it's actually... Alright, he skipped it for us? Okay, there he is. He skipped it for us. Like, I can't explain it, but it's, like, irritating because it looks like you're not shooting at the right place. Here you are. These shots look good. Okay. If you want to go to the right, go to the right. Don't just sit here in the open area. Also, that guy with high ground. Yeah, the Genji's behind you. You saw him walk to the right side. He's behind you. He's harassing your team. You are actually a great help against the Genji. There you go. It's not quick, there's 2 rounds. Good point. Thank you, sir. I forget about that. Okay, those are terrible shots. If I think they're gonna land where you're shooting them. Alright, good. I actually like that trap because if you actually started shooting from up there again, maybe it enticed the Genji to dash. Ooh, okay. I would get out of there. So with that tire, you're already down 1, and I get that maybe you're trying to turn it around. But as soon as you heard the nano blade go off, I think you could have turned and went for the Genji. Also, you saw, I believe it was Mercy's healing beam as soon as you went through the door, which meant someone was right next to you.
Team up for special attack.
I don't think anyone's gonna hit that trap. He's gonna hit it, isn't he? Ooh! That was a good one. Oh, he got it! I didn't realize it would grab his arm and just force him up there like that. It's actually really good to know. It's not moving his mouse as much as just moving where his crosshair lands on someone. I wonder if just upping his sense would help. Well, again, sensitivity's a personal issue. But I would track that down to accuracy. He should be able to be as accurate. You can be accurate with any sensitivity. You know, the higher it is. So it's like those shots. Okay. He actually didn't get a direct hit. It was only splash damage. Yeah, you're still doing the... It's because he's doing these lofty shots, and he's shooting above his targets. That's what... I don't want to say it's wrong, but that's what's irritating to me about these shots.
Get in there.
Most times it's not worth it to ult him in. Seems like the strafe aim. Like, he uses his movement to aim for him instead of moving his mouse. I mean, you can do a little bit of A, a little bit of B. It's not bad to strafe aim or use your movement to correct your aiming. You don't want to use it constantly, though. Also, aim up higher so you can get the bank shots. How is this plat? We don't know what it is. Did I say it was plat at the start? Yeah, he's a diamond plat, that's right.
Team up for special attack.
Fuck. Risky as hell. Throw down a trap to the left side is what I would do. You guys get it. It's not terrible. Look, finishing Havana's is a reward in itself.
Peace be upon you.
So the enemy isn't healing his shots at all?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I would assume he means he's right on the board of the two ranks. True! But I would like to say he's plat. We established that at the start of the show. Oh, okay. So you need to be already having your second trap up. These are good shots to take. I would. You can use that. You can use this to put shots inside there. Yeah, pushed up a little bit too far. Well, a lot of it too far. Again, Junkrat doesn't have fall off, so feel free to sit back and push the damage out. The only time you want to push up is maybe if a team is not expecting you to be right around the corner and you get some a lot of AoE burst damage off. Like if someone's coming through a choke point, you'll see me do that every now and then. But it's an all or nothing tactic. Okay, something.
Team up for special attack.
So, I would have tried to get the high ground and then let the team come through. Yeah, hold those concussive mines a little more. You're a bit willy-nilly with them. Typically, this isn't a bad thing.
No, this won't be broken.
Oh, you made it. Hey-oh. You gotta get into combat.
There we go.
Oh, your team's just dying. Yep. The hog's ignoring you now. Yep. I mean, yeah. You can, yeah, you're gonna have to do that. You can try to sit behind him and be all sneaky as you want, but you're just wasting your team's time there. So the whole point with that point 2 is that you attack them as they capture the point. Let them come through the point a little bit and make them deal with the choke point and the door closing. Essentially, that Bastion, you could have killed that Bastion. If you just dropped it right on his head when they went through the choke point. And now here's the same thing. Well, I go up above his head. Yeah, okay. Okay. Maybe not okay. I couldn't tell if there's an immortality field on the Bastion at that point. If there was, I get that you know, go for the back lines, but getting the Bastion is the primary concern here. And if anyone's wondering why we're just watching this, it's because of when watching your own VODs, it doesn't go back to that watching the player cam stuff.
Score.
Maybe this will go 10 rounds? Probably not based on this. So as a Moira, okay. You need to get the hell out of here soon. As a Moira, you don't have to sit right behind the shield constantly. Remember, you have one of the best escape skills in the game on a 6-second cooldown. Feel free to launch that right now and use the fact that you'll have a second one up. You don't want to be fronting that. Damn, I guess the Torb. Looks like me playing. Get away from me, here's some healing.
I'm restoring you.
So I haven't seen you use Fade yet. Use Fade, like when you need to reposition to the left side. Just use it. It's a 6-second cooldown. You use it just as much for escape as you do just for repositioning. Try to build default a little bit, that's fine. Okay, I like that choice. I like the healing orb because at the time it looks like a shield is going to be in the way. This is very unnecessary. You already had I think it was 2 picks? Okay. He seems just confused as Moira.
I'm restoring you.
Alright, there we go, using that. and you haven't used Fade yet.
My servants never die.
Okay, I was about to say, like, at least
This is not your
when the wall was right here. Oh, this is such a bad square. When the wall was right over here, don't stand here. Their team was over here, like, just fade this way, or just walk this way. Talk this way. And just be in a lot safer of a spot.
surrender to my will.
It's funny, it feels like you're doing more aiming on this character already than you did on Junkrat. You just need to get out completely or die. Alright, you had to make the... You had to. No one else is going to touch the cart. And your team dies. Wasn't a bad last-ditch attempt. He faded, finally. He faded like 2 or 3 times. Yeah. So with the old Junkrat, normally I don't say this, but you gotta work on your aim. I actually rarely ever say that, but you just need to quite seriously work on your aim. Whenever you're aiming downfield, don't just shoot. And I know people may not believe me, but whenever I shoot with Junkrat, I at least have a picture in my head of where I want to shoot, and then I hit that area. Not that area, I hit that spot. So when there's just like the payload's here, and I'm like, oh, I want to shoot this area right next to the payload. I don't just pick a spot and just be like, oh, yep, I'm shooting this way. That's all I care about. Just, trying to hit this choke point. No, like, I quite literally say I want to hit this exact point. As far as I'm concerned, it's a hit scan. Well, not a hit scan, I should say. It's just, I'm selecting a single point and I'm shooting there. Most people just kind of lob stuff in the general direction. I told you Fate isn't actually an alt. You have to use it. I don't know if I said that. You probably gotta use it smartly. So just, your aim seems a bit off. And a lot of the time it looks like you're aiming over your target. And maybe this is just because I'm usually aiming at a target. It just seems like your shots are a little bit loftier than what I would prefer. And it gives the enemy more time to dodge it. Yeah. Basically, I'm aiming at people and you're aiming a little bit above them. I mean, if this is a player model, I want to do the quickest path. I don't want to take this awkwardly long path. That gives him time to get out there and dodge it. People in chat, they were noticing, they're like, I think he's just using his movement to aim. He's actually not moving his mouse around as much. Could be. That's not a bad thing at lower levels. Like, just getting your bearings straight is enough. Because I assume this is like a 28-2900 level game. You definitely don't want to start depending on movement to fix your aim. It's just not healthy. It's better to be able to hit your targets with mouse alone. But movement does tie into aiming eventually. Along with your aiming, shooting too high. Alright, positioning. P is for passive. You are very passive. Passive. And I'm not telling you to be over aggressive and just launch yourself at the enemy team every time you get a chance. But a lot of your shots, like on the first point, the high ground's like this, the payload was over here. You can easily stay out of harm's way and just lob shots onto the card. You can walk up a couple steps and throw a trap down here. Or if you're expecting, like if you notice what they have, they're like, oh, they definitely have something that's going to challenge me. All right, then put a trap up here. And so when they do challenge you, you can get the advantage. Essentially, as a Junkrat, I prefer to attack from an enclosed space. And in that enclosed space, I like to stay, I would say, 25 to 75% back. How can I explain this? So on this ledge, like if here's a ledge and the team's down here, rarely ever do I want to be right here on the peak. Like unless they're farther away, then I'll do it. But basically you want to stay from here to here. You'll usually put a trap right here. And this is because if you're too far up and they attack straight at you, you have no wiggle room, right? They attack you, you've been hit. That's it, end of story. If you're farther back, they'll come up here. They'll be more, essentially it's more baity because they'll hit the trap. But also it gives you room to just not get hit. And the farther you are away from people, statistically, the harder you are to hit. I'm not saying it's going to be like that all the time. But understand if a Junkrat dashes up here and right clicks, if I'm back here, one of his 3 shots are going to hit. 2 of them are going to miss just based on his how his attack works in general. So I would rather have you here because you are staying way back here and just shooting more or less blindly. And as the payload moves forward and moves around, then you do have to change your setup. But for the most part, this is how I kind of. These are my rough guidelines that I do. So outside the passivity, let's see. Your first point. I mean, it was just passive. He was just hiding all the way back. Second point, they kind of got rolled. I could also say this for positioning, and it does have to do with one of chat's comments earlier. So I use concussive mine. Mine usage. So I use concussive mine heavily for movement. And again, that's my way of playing Junkrat. I'm not saying that's correct. I'm just saying that is what I do. And I've been doing that ever since Season 1, and that's what I've found success with. And the best way I can describe it is, if I keep attacking from this point of view, my options are limited, and the team gets pretty educated on dealing with my shots. If you constantly shoot from one spot, you're not going to get any new angles. You're not going to really get any damage off. You're not going to get any picks. It's the same with Widow. As a Widow, you got to keep on moving around, and you got to keep on forcing the enemy to reposition their shields and their defenses, so they can't properly deal with you. And that's what I do with Junkrat a lot. I do this. This is essentially my. I don't want to call it my signature play, but it's my signature, and you can definitely tell because if there's any hero that can lock down movement and pressure me in that sort of way, that really, really hampens my playstyle.
Finally recognized.
But essentially, use mine to get to different angles, so you can do different attacks. And even if you just go over here for 3 shots and then go somewhere else because you can't get anything, at least they're all looking that way now instead of looking at the choke point. Because you can easily land some shots this way, shoot some shots this way, and then fully migrate over this side and shoot some shots this way. And if they're not keeping track of you, which sometimes they are, sometimes they're not, it essentially just you're just trying to probe for weakness. And understand, if you get success with one angle, they're going to fix that weakness because you just killed someone or you put some damage. you have to move around, and even if you don't use mines to move around, at least just move around in general. Also, as a Junkrat, use ricochets to your advantage. You can move around, but also hitting, this wall over here to make it go this way, may get something more than before. I guess this ties into logistics, which is basically how are you getting to where you're getting. I'd also put trap usage here. Trap more, as always. Don't even gotta think about it. Trap more. You were not trapping enough. You weren't trapping at all. Just more. Every time you hear that trap break or it gets activated, if you have it on cooldown, throw it at a choke point. Just get it down. Logistics though, but essentially overall logistics is okay. We talked about your position. So you had this positioning over here, you had a positioning in the center, and positioning over here. The question is how do you migrate from path to path? How do you know what to pick? How do you know what to do? This is where I use concussive mines to speed up my time between points of attack. You don't have to do that. You can just walk, but essentially, because it's quicker, it's less expected. Junkrat's on the right side. All of a sudden, what the hell is this Junkrat doing on the left side? Stuff like that. You gotta get to a safe... You have to understand there should be like 3 or 4 safe places on the point you're defending or attacking. Launch attacks from there, and then based on the information you gather from there, this one, you move up. Essentially, it's the supply pyramid just on a micro scale. You're just too static at this point. Being static isn't terrible in Overwatch, but it's usually meant for heroes with a static kit. So Orisa is a great example. Yeah, Orisa is a bit too static, but she's incredibly strong at it. So that's fine. That's what her kit entails. Junkrat, not so much. If you're dealing with shields that are put in the right place, well, then find a way around it. Or over it. Like, that's Junkrat's signature thing, is like shooting over shields. Shooting around corners, stuff like that. Just figure it out. Just with Junkrat's skill set, try not to stay static. If you're pinned down because of extremely talented widows, I get it, but in that game you weren't. One other thing I want to say, and it's just appearing in my mind right now, you seem to stick to the cart hard. Like, you use the cart a significant amount. I don't want to say flank more, but if you're chilling with the cart, I mean, that's the whole static thing. You're using a lot of what I would call inside angles. So if this is a corner, you were chilling here. When as a Junkrat, usually, especially one without any against any hit scans, usually you try to get this angle. You try to get the wide angle. Obviously, if you take this all the way around, it's a flank. But taking the wide angle around the corner, and you just do this because you have a myriad of shots. As you start getting closer here, you're kind of limited with your shots. Has to do with cover a lot though. If there's cover right here, perfect. If there's not, and they got a good hit scan, of course your options are limited. But don't forget about up and over, stuff like that. So be more wary of the wide angle instead of always taking the short angle. Because I noticed the cart was coming around this way, and you'll always take the short angle, which to me just limits your options. Information. How was your information gathering skills? Sound. There was a couple of times when the Genji was on your supports, I'm like, man, your supports are getting attacked right now. One concussive mine can make a world of difference to your supports. Specifically against Genjis and Tracers, basically flankers. You hit them once, and they kind of got to use abilities or get the hell out of there. I think that's it. I mean, other than information, I guess a single instance of information was when someone was getting healed to the left, when you were putting the tire through the doorway, you saw someone getting healed to the left, you could have just went that way and killed someone immediately. Supports have to support someone, so if you're seeing where they're linked to, where their healing is going, you know someone is there, you can easily get a kill. The only other information is if we take it literally, tire. We talked about tire in an immortality field. It's not a bad thing to destroy the field and damage everyone to 20% of their health if your team has follow-up. I think that's all I can think of for right now. I want to say there's something more on information, but I think it has to do with your positioning. Essentially, because maybe this would have to do with the whole pick a side, cleave towards the center. But as you stay on the cart, there's a lot of stuff happening all around you, and you're having a hard time pick up what to do. Yeah, there's people to the left, to the right, to the behind, yada yada yada. But let's just say someone's not over here, and then you walk this way, and now you can see, oh, there's someone there, there's someone there, there's someone there. Now I can make the proper decision instead of being in the center and just kind of reacting chaotically. That's all I got. If there's one thing I would tell you to work on, it's your positioning. I think that has to deal with everything. I would kind of... Right now, you sit on the cart so damn much. I would like to see you back left or back right, depending on their team composition, and cover. And covering a bit of the side angles. Because, I mean, I guess right now in their recent meta, you gotta put a lot of damage on the shield. But your position just seemed... It was just off. I mean, I don't even want to say passive. It wasn't like you were really far back here. But you seemed really close, real tight to the payload, and you stuck with it. You didn't explore any of your off angles. You didn't explore anything else. And because of that, I don't know if you had the best information because you're so tunnel visioned. Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. But it's your positioning that's really bothering me. And I don't see like a huge gap of information loss. And I think that's all I got to say about that. Are there any questions in chat? There's a lot of weird stuff in this review, actually, this time. There's just a lot of stuff that I couldn't put my finger on why it felt off. I think you chilled off. If I started recording my Sigma gameplay, would you be okay with reviewing it? Or is it enough here that you would like a lot of time for us to submit a clip? I mean, you can submit it and we can talk about it. It's not bad. Essentially, if I don't know, here's the thing. I'll tell you if I don't know something. I have no problems admitting that. And if it gets to the point, I'll be like, all right, you're doing X. What are your other options? Well, your other options are Y and Z. But you have to account for these other variables. And we kind of talk our way through it. And I think that's the best way to handle... Essentially, we have to theory craft. The problem with theory crafting is that theory crafting only goes so far. Doing what you say you want to do is a whole completely different thing. Because sometimes it's like, oh, I can't attack this Widow because the Widow's going to kill me. And sometimes you attack a Widow and you kill her. Even at top 500 level. Like, I've done it to some Overwatch League Widows. I've actually, been aggressive to them and I killed them. Is that right? Is it wrong? I don't know, but it fucking worked. Right? Yeah, we're just going to skip the Moira part. I'll just say with Moira, fade more. Fade more for positioning advantages. And then there's like min-maxing cooldowns and whatnot. But that's kind of basic stuff that you can take to any hero. Pow!